Guys, I'm literally obsessed with how this wall is looking so far. The colors are complementing each other so nicely. I think in the end it's gonna look so amazing. The room I'm stenciling is pretty dull. It just needed some warmer tones in it, so I chose to use this tan color as my base color. Always make sure to stir up that paint real good. Once I got my base color down, it was time for the stenciling, and I'm using a small, medium, and large stencil. For the biggest stencil, I used this white shade, which is just any white shade that I had laying around. And I just thought white would be a good choice for the biggest one to bring some light to the room because it was a little dull. As I was laying out my pattern, at first I just picked a spot wherever, and then once I got my first stencil down, I would back up to see the whole wall and the composition and then choose my next area. I'm making all of the large stencils the same color, but if you wanted to switch it up, you definitely could. For the medium stencil, I used this muted green color, and I chose a muted color because muted colors can really be much more powerful than, say, a bright green color that's very saturated, and it can be a little overwhelming in a room, and a muted color just feels a lot more comfortable. I also chose this green color as an accent to add some color rather than just all neutral colors. As I chose the placement of my next colored stencil, I chose to overlap this one on top of the white just to see how the colors reacted to each other. The muted green and my base color are very similar in value, so it's nice to see only the colors playing against each other rather than the values. The pattern I chose for this stencil is very intricate and beautiful, and that is why I chose such simple colors to go along with it. For the smallest stencil, I actually used this antiquing glaze that I got before because you can actually use this on walls. It's not just for furniture, and it has a nice transparency to it, so I knew that it wasn't gonna come up jet black. I knew you would be able to see the other colors through it, and I thought that would be interesting with the overlapping patterns. When I was applying the antiquing glaze, I just used a slightly damp rag and sort of dabbed it on, and then just started wiping throughout the whole stencil to even out the coat. Using the antiquing glaze, you can get a very dark pattern if you'd like, to almost a whisper of color. The randomness of the placement of these stencils just brings such a happy, playful mood to the room, and that's exactly what you want to feel in your house, honestly. This concludes today's wall look. Make sure to comment down below if you have any ideas for some future episodes, and make sure to check back next week to see what we have in store for you. Head to our website to check out more of our stencils, and don't forget to tag us on social media with your stencil art.